Glowing orbs have been reported for centuries, from the mysterious will-o'-the-wisps of folklore to modern sightings over New Jersey and Skinwalker Ranch. Some orbs appear in storms, others in the night sky, and some even show up in unexpected places, like bedrooms. But what are they? Could they be paranormal entities or advanced technology? Or could they be something we actually know quite a bit about, phenomena tied to natural forces? In this video, we're going to dig into what orbs really are, where they've been spotted, and the different theories that could explain their mysterious nature. We'll look at some of the more famous sightings, explore the ideas of plasmoids, and investigate whether there could be a connection between these glowing spheres and the plasma phenomena we see in nature. Perhaps you've had an orb experience yourself, and by the end of this, the unexplained might be slightly more explained. No promises. Either way, you're going to gain a deeper understanding of orbs and understand more about plasmoids. By the end, you'll be able to make up your own mind about what you think these mysterious lights in the sky truly are. But be sure to stick around, because the truth might be stranger and more scientifically fascinating than you think. First, what are orbs? Orbs are a fascinating and often perplexing phenomenon. They typically are described as glowing, spherical objects, sometimes small, like the size of a ping pong ball, or large enough to be several feet across. These glowing spheres are often self-contained, hovering in the air or darting about erratically, and they seem to come in a range of colors: white, green, orange, blue, and sometimes they even shift colors during sightings. What makes orbs even more intriguing is the behavior people report when they see them. Some orbs appear to hover slightly in one place for a while others dart about unexpectedly in the sky, making sharp turns or moving in ways that defy natural physics. There are reports of them appearing during storms, hovering near certain locations for years, or even showing up during quiet, calm moments. Some people claim that orbs can even interact with the environment, emitting heat, creating static charges, or simply watching silently, as if observing those who encounter them. And then there are the strange visual effects. A lot of people report seeing patterns or faces inside the orbs. This could be explained through the concept of pareidolia, where our brain tends to see familiar shapes or patterns, but still, the experiences are strikingly consistent, making it hard to dismiss them as mere tricks of the light. These strange sightings often leave one big question: what's really behind these glowing orbs? Could there be a natural explanation? While orbs may always carry an air mystery, there's one thing we do know a lot about: plasmoids. These glowing spherical structures of plasma, which are charged particles held together by magnetic fields, are more than just an interesting phenomenon. The key that might explain orbs lies in how plasmoids are formed and sustained in high-energy environments. Plasmoids are created when ionized air, which are particles that have been stripped of electrons, come together to form a structure where the inside is positively charged and the outside is negatively charged. This creates a delicate balance of electromagnetic forces at work. This is known as dynamic equilibrium. Depending on where plasmoids form, they can vary in size and in length of time they remain stable. In our atmosphere, plasmoids can last anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes, but out in space, they can persist for days, months, and even years. Now you might be wondering, how does this tie back to orbs? Well, as we look at the environments where plasmoids form, we'll begin to see how these conditions overlap with where orbs tend to appear. By examining these environments, we'll uncover the possible connection between plasmoids and the glowing orbs people have been spotting for centuries. Now that we understand how plasmoids form and the conditions necessary for their existence, let's look at the environments where these conditions converge, creating the ideal setting for orb sightings. we're going to explore specific locations where the environmental factors are right for plasmoid formation, and we'll examine how these areas might explain some of the glowing orbs people have been seeing. Now, I'm not attempting to explain all orb sightings, but with an open mind, we can see a connection, I believe, between plasmoids, orbs, and the environments in which they form. Let's start with geomagnetic activity and fault lines. Fault lines, subduction zones, and areas with tectonic stress generate electromagnetic energy. When rocks slide or crack, they can release piezoelectric charges, which is energy from compressed crystals like quartz. These energy discharges, combined with the Earth's magnetic fields, create localized conditions that may lead to plasmoid formation. Geomagnetic activity tends to fluctuate over time, and some areas of the world are currently experiencing increased activity. In places where the Earth's magnetic field is more active, or where earthquakes are more frequent, you might see more orb sightings. For example, earthquake lights have been documented near tectonic activity, often being reported during seismic events. There are reports of glowing orbs appearing in places like Japan, Turkey, and California, which, as you know, are regions known for their tectonic activity. Do you think these orbs could be trying to warn us about impending earthquakes? Certainly an intriguing possibility, but either way, these lights can be seen both in the sky and near the ground, which raises more questions about their true nature. Skinwalker Ranch in Utah is another well-known site with a rich history of orb sightings. Known for its unique geology, including fault lines and high quartz content, the ranch certainly has a huge amount of examples of these mysterious orbs. Now, could these electromagnetic anomalies in these areas be creating the right conditions for plasmoids to form? Is this what's creating the orbs we see? Now we're going to take a look at volcanic eruptions, which release massive amounts of heat, gas, and charged particles into the atmosphere. When these particles interact with electromagnetic fields, they can ionize the surrounding air, creating glowing plasma. Right now, as you might be aware, Kilauea in Hawaii is erupting again, making it an active site for orb sightings. The intense energy and gas activity around volcanic eruptions can ionize the surrounding atmosphere, creating the perfect condition for plasmoid-like phenomena to form. Reports of orbs near volcanic eruptions have been documented, and the connection between these events and orb sightings is hard to ignore. Could there be an increase in orb sightings near active volcanoes like Kilauea right now? As volcanic activity escalates, the likelihood of plasmoid formation increases, which could explain the uptick in orb reports there. If we look around the world, there's been an increase in orb sightings in areas near volcanic eruptions, and the question becomes whether these phenomena are linked to the environmental conditions created by the eruption itself, or are they something still unknown? Let's take a look now at solar activity and ionospheric disturbances. You see, we are currently at the peak of the solar cycle, meaning that solar activity, including solar flares and geomagnetic storms, is higher than usual. Solar flares release massive bursts of energy, which can energize the ionosphere, releasing charged particles into the Earth's magnetic field. These particles interact with the atmosphere, creating localized plasmas that resemble the phenomena we see in orbs. With increased solar activity, we are seeing more geomagnetic storms, which are enhancing the conditions necessary for plasmoid formation. In the past few weeks, there has been a rise in orb sightings linked to solar activity. Reports from places like New Jersey and others during these geomagnetic storms have sparked conversations about whether the increased sightings could be tied to these solar phenomena. Could the heightened solar activity be responsible for the rise in orb sightings? The sun's energy not only lights up our world, but also changes Earth's atmosphere, sparking phenomena we are still trying to fully understand. Up next, let's take a look at the atmosphere and weather phenomena. Thunderstorms, high humidity, and static electricity can create small, localized plasmas. Lightning strikes, in particular, are known to produce a phenomenon called ball lightning. Ball lightning is a type of glowing sphere that appears during or after lightning storms, often moving erratically and behaving in ways that seem to defy physics. Reports of glowing orbs appearing shortly after lightning strikes or during heavy rain point to the idea that the weather itself might play a role in orb formation. The energy released during the thunderstorm may create the right conditions for plasmoids to form in the atmosphere. There have been sightings in places like Florida, where thunderstorms are common, and Texas, which is known for its amazing lightning strikes. These areas, where atmospheric conditions support high electrical activity, could explain the orb phenomenon. The weather itself may be the birthplace of these mysterious lights, due to charged particles and electrical discharges, which we now know are integral to their formation. Now that we've explored how orbs appear in natural high-energy environments, let's turn our attention to an intriguing area where orbs are also reported, right in our homes. In many instances, people have observed orbs in bedrooms, hallways, or near where they sleep. These sightings occur in places where we typically wouldn't expect such phenomena to happen. So now we have to ask, what could be causing these orbs? Well, let's consider electronics, wiring, and even the stress in household structures. These have been known to be able to generate localized electromagnetic fields. In these fields, ionized particles can form, creating the glowing plasma that may appear as orbs. And it suggests that even in our homes, electromagnetic energy could play a role in producing these fleeting glowing phenomena. But does it explain all of them? Let's take a look at some of the best known cases. One notable example is Lou Elizondo, a former Pentagon official known for his work on the U.S. government's UFO program. He has written extensively about his experiences with the phenomenon, but he's also shared stories about a green orb that has been seen hovering in his home and traveling down the hallway. This wasn't just a one-time sighting. Elizondo and other witnesses have seen this phenomenon repeatedly. Could this orb be a plasmoid reacting to some electromagnetic anomaly in his home? Elizondo's latest book, The UFO Phenomenon, delves deeper into these unexplained occurrences, adding credibility to the ongoing conversation around anomalous phenomena. Also, Christopher Bledsoe has reported seeing orbs frequently in his home, around his home, basically anywhere he goes. On top of that, he has plenty of witness testimonies and video evidence supporting his claims. Now, I don't know what's going on here. Could it be from geomagnetic activity and nearby rivers in the area that could contribute to these reoccurring appearances? Or is it something else entirely? Moving to Norway, the Hesdalen lights have been a source of intrigue for years. First seen in the 1980s in the Hesdalen Valley, these persistent glowing lights are often described as pulsating orbs, and they have been linked to geomagnetic and atmospheric anomalies in the region. What makes these lights especially fascinating is that they appear regularly, often year-round. It's definitely a sight to see, and efforts to study the lights are ongoing to better understand their cause. Now moving back to the United States, let's take a look at what's been going on in New Jersey, Florida, and California, just to list a few of the places where orb sightings have been happening pretty much nonstop. What's the common thread? These areas, among others, are currently experiencing heightened solar and geomagnetic activity, ultimately creating the ideal conditions for plasmoids to form and orbs to appear. Over the past several weeks, reports of these glowing orbs have increased, particularly during periods of intense solar flares and geomagnetic storms. While many of these sightings could be attributed to the increased solar activity, the question remains, could there be something else at play? Or are these orbs just a natural byproduct of the charged environment? Maybe this is what all the drones are checking out up there. One thing is clear, that the places where orbs appear offer valuable clues to their origin. Now let's see if we can put these puzzle pieces together. We have the first piece, the plasmoid piece, which are those charged particles held together by magnetic fields. We know that these can take many shapes, sizes, and colors. Then we have the orbs themselves. These glowing spheres are often seen in high energy environments, and they sometimes resemble phenomena like ball lightning. So do these pieces fit together? In my opinion, yes, they do. Well, almost all the time, they do. You see, like most things in science, there are always outlier cases, and there are stories out there that just don't fit into this plasmoid framework, at least not yet. One of the most rewarding aspects of this exploration has been hearing your personal stories and encounters with these glowing, energetic, and beautiful orbs. Your experiences are what have inspired this video, and I'm truly grateful for everyone who shared. Let's try to keep this conversation going. Please share your thoughts and stories. You know, whether these beautiful balls of energy are rooted in science as plasmoids, or they're completely mysterious orbs, it honestly doesn't matter, because regardless of their origin story, they make being human much more magical. If you're interested in plasmoids and want to learn more about their science, like how they form in space, their connection to the creation of biochemicals for life, and other intriguing possibilities, keep an eye out for a future video on plasmoid science. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care.